Good evening and welcome to the Doctor and Athlete Podcast. Brought to you by, sounds like a commercial, the Global Light Group with LifeWave. I am really happy to be here tonight. We have a great guest that we're bringing up. And tonight we are going to explore and shine a bright light on a new light technology, the global sensation, the global phenomenon, the winner of the Biotech Global for 2025 Stem Cell Innovation Award. Yeah, it's the X39. I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to zoom in really close so you can see the battery or where you plug it in. That's kind of funny. There's no visible power source, is there? Well, that's part of the story tonight. Stick around. I'm going to show you what powers this patch. And by the time we're finished tonight, I hope that I have presented to you enough information that you will be able to check these three boxes. Number one, does this technology work? I hope after you find out that there are patents, there are millions of people all over the world in 80 different countries using this technology, that it works. And once you realize that things that don't work aren't likely to get patents on them, that will help check that box. Number two, will this patch work for me? I can assure you, if you have genes and if you fog up the mirror, it will work for you. And number three, could I also share this technology with others? After all, someone who cared about you invited you to come and see this tonight. We're going to show you how simple it is to share this technology. You do not have to be a doctor, a scientist, or anything like that. We'll show you how simple it is. They may have invited you because you have something going on with your health nobody's been able to figure out. There are thousands of different unnamed things people can have. You go to the doctor and I don't know what you have, but you have this organ function, this organ dysfunction. And it depends on the complexity of the overlay of organ dysfunction, what you have, and it may not even have a name. And we're not stating tonight that we treat, cure, or prevent diseases. This is not what this is about. What this technology does is remind your body what it was supposed to be doing, except now that you're older, it's better. And that's another thing that I'm going to share with you. What does that mean, that better part? But first, I want to do a little screen share. I have a fantastic little, I got to get out of here. Sorry. I got to get this on top so I can share it. Here we go. Special little song for you. Where is it? Come on. Oh, got to turn this down. Okay, here we go. Yes, this is the Notre Dame fight song, and I had a special request from Joe Fazio, who is our guest tonight, and he is a former Notre Dame football player. So, Joe, unmute yourself and say hello. I'm going to introduce you to our guest before I ask you a couple of questions. Joe, are you there?
I sure am. Hello,
Oh,
Dr. John.
it's good to see you again. I
Thank
was on
you.
his podcast a while back, and I want to also, before we get going, I want to share this with you. Write this down. He has a podcast every Monday night called The Patch of Champions. And what time is that out, Joe?
8 p.m. Eastern,
8
5
p.m.
p.m.
Eastern,
Pacific.
5 p.m. Pacific. Passcode is 39. The Patch of Champions. All right, Joe, I have a little information. I want to tell our audience about you a little bit. Joe is a two-star executive with LifeWave and has been patching for 3 years. You know what? I still hear the music. Hold on a second. There we go. You guys probably couldn't hear it, but I could. Not a bad song though, Joe.
Well, we almost went to blows because all I could see was Michigan Wolverines, and that's an arch
Oh,
enemy, an enemy.
oh no. That's not good. All right. Did you calm down yet?
No, we're good.
Okay. So Joe is a former vice president of a variety of technology corporations serving the commercial trucking industry. He graduated in business from the University of Notre Dame in 85, played 4 years of football for the Fighting Irish. LifeWave has been very rewarding for Joe and his wife Pamela, as there are 77 former Notre Dame graduates and athletes wearing the patch. Wow. LifeWave is now a full-time passion for Joe, and it afforded him an opportunity to resign from corporate America. Joe and Pamela live in Central Florida and have three grown children and two grandchildren. That seems like so few, Joe, when I tell people that I have 26. But congratulations. Welcome again. Joe, you have all of these former players. Did they all play with you on
Oh,
what?
absolutely not. I told two friends who told two friends. We span probably five different coaches and
Wow.
probably 50 years of our senior statesman is in his late 70s, and we were just on the phone today with a current player who's only 19 years old. So, yeah, the age difference spans many, many generations.
That's fantastic. And those older ones are probably really, really beat up.
Yes, Big Mike McCoy had every joint replaced in his body. His fingers were very crooked. I mean, this guy, tackled Burt Jones and Fran Tarkenton and
Wow.
Archie Manning, and some of those guys really beat his body up. It's interesting, Dr. John. He called me 6 months later to thank me for introducing him to X39 because this little tiny patch brought the inflammation and discomfort in his body down by about 80 to 90%. So it's really
That's,
neat when you get a call from a former player just to thank you for introducing them to this technology.
isn't that rewarding? Don't you just love that? I have
It,
experienced that in chiropractic and the other oxidative medicine stuff and brain stuff that I did. And people come up to me in the grocery store and thank me. And it's like, wow, 2 weeks of endorphins on that, man.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're getting a lot of satisfaction, I hear, just sharing this technology with people.
Oh my goodness. We are screaming this from the rooftops. Thank you for that kind introduction. This has afforded me an opportunity to move away from corporate America. After 40 years, LifeWave is now what I do full time. And I wake up every morning just looking forward to the day. I remember 3 years ago when Carl Firestone introduced this program to me, and I politely told him no, thank you. It sounded hokey. It sounded like voodoo. My wife said, no, we're not doing that. And what really got my attention, Dr. John, is that I saw a testimonial of a woman who had an autoimmune condition that affected the central nervous system. And after wearing this technology for 3 or 4 months, she got a major mobility improvement. And that got my attention because my younger sister has that same condition. If I mention the disease, you would know exactly what I'm talking about. But since we try to stay in compliance, we don't talk about diseases. We do not want to make a medical claim or promise. So I
Yeah.
called Carl back and I said, you've got my attention. Tell me more about this wellness device. And he did. We invested in this program for my younger sister. You would not believe the life change she has experienced. Now, she's not healed. She still has that condition. But one of the doctors on our team came onto my Zoom and he said, Joe, I'm living with these diseases as if I do not have them. That's one of the most powerful things I've ever heard on my presentations. So for me, I was a tight end for Notre Dame. I was in a lot of collisions. My body was hit quite often. My spine kind of went out of place many times. My head got rung. Big Mike Golick, Mike and Mike in the morning. Uh, I had to go up against him every day. guys that have been in a lot of collisions really, really need this patch. I am on a mission right now, Dr. John. I've had 4 meetings with the NFL Alumni Association. There is a condition called chronic traumatic encephalopathy. I know you're aware of it,
Big
but
buzzword.
yeah, CTE for short. These guys are struggling. Medicine, pharmaceutical surgery is not going to help these former players. In fact, you can only diagnose this condition post-mortem. So you can't even tell they have it. They just
Right.
show signs of that condition. These are white matter hyperintensities that are forming in the brain. I lost a dear friend, took his own life because he just could not handle the pain and trauma. He played for the 1985 Super Bowl champion Chicago Bears. So had we had this product 20 years ago, I mean, I'm talking X39,
Yeah.
perhaps that gentleman would still be on this planet. So my mission is clear. I am trying to get to every athlete that's been in collisions that I can possibly get to. That's why we have 79 former players and graduates from Notre Dame. These men and women are very, very intelligent, and boy, did they vet us hard. They rolled their eyes and said, "Yeah, right, a patch. What is that going to do?" But then,
What about for you personally?
yeah,
Are you able to work out still and all of that stuff? And how has that affected you?
wait till we get to Hawaii. I've got a six pack. I'm just kidding. I'm stronger, leaner. I have more stamina and strength than I've had in a very long time. I literally think I'm 62. I literally believe I could play college football right now. That's how good of shape I'm in, and that's because of these patches. Of course, combined with the Celergize and now the X2O water machine. Wow, what a
Well,
combination. But for
dang it,
me,
Joe, just because of what you just said, I'm going to avoid you when I'm in my swing state. I'm going to go to the other part of the resort and just hide.
I had a debilitating pinching sensation that went down my glutes to the back of my knee. You know exactly what that is.
Yes, I
I
do.
struggled with that for 30 years of my adult life. I would be in an airport and I would literally have to drop my bags, my luggage, and
Man.
crouch down like a baseball catcher to stretch out that nerve route. I wore this patch, this X39 bad boy, for 21 days, John. Totally, totally went away.
Oh man, that's life
I,
changing. And I've only had that once in my life, and it affected everything I did. I had to sit down in my practice. I would wheel myself in. Hi, I'm Dr. Harmon. I'm your chiropractor. I can't stand up. I wish I would have had this patch
yeah.
back then.
Well,
Uh,
I tried to tell my chiropractor about this technology. He just scoffed at me, and I haven't been back to him in 2.5 years. He probably thinks I changed doctors, but in reality, I just have not needed his services. So,
and you know what,
um,
Joe? Sometimes my experience has been when they find out people don't have to come in as much, they're not as interested in helping people, unfortunately. And it says a lot about them,
yeah.
unfortunately. Anything else that you'd like to add about some of the players, maybe, big change that somebody else had?
Yeah, I mean, it's shocking some of the stories I'm hearing from some of these players who are going to the gym. And when you lift heavy weight and do a lot of repetitions,
Yeah.
the muscles contract, you consume that ATP, which is energy, and you develop microscopic tears in the muscles so that when they rest and repair, the muscles become bigger. That's how bodybuilders get very, very large. But what I'm hearing from these guys when they come out of the gym, they're like, "Joe, I'm busting my butt and I'm not getting sore."
You can't get sore. It's
You
the
can't
weirdest
get
thing.
sore.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, they're wearing a variety of the patches, but mainly X39, and it's just
right.
very, very interesting that they're not getting sore. But back to the head trauma, I've got two players who they lost their long-term memory. So we talk about brain fog lifting,
Hmm.
in the first few months. That's real. These guys can now remember songs from the 1980s, and they used to struggle by trying to name that tune.
And Joe, that's a quality of life thing when you get older. I mean,
It sure is.
I
Yep.
don't remember anything, quality of life. And then wow, I can remember my loved ones, who I am.
Yeah.
Um, I have a friend here in town. I'll only say his first name, but he just won a 46-year lawsuit against the NFL for 9 brain surgeries, and the outcome has been really good for the players that are currently playing because I think now it's a workers' comp injury. But
Mm.
anyway, that's another topic. Joe, delightful to have you on. We had a great time when I was on your podcast, and I want to thank you for coming on and just sharing your story and yourself and your bright light. And we'll have to have you on and again sometime and talk about any other people that you've helped and gotten joy from.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Dr. John. You're going to be on my program within the next 30 days, but just one last thing. This
You
is
bet.
this is the finest business opportunity I've ever seen since graduating Notre Dame's business school. There are so many people that need better health, and there's a lot more people that need better wealth. So, guys who are on the call, don't give up. This is by far the most rewarding thing that my wife and I have ever done. And we're going all the way to the top of
Yeah.
LifeWave along with you, Dr. Harmon.
We
So
have two people here, you and I, who have actually retired from our other JOBs. Anyway, I loved what I did, in practice, but now I get to work from the beach.
there you
Thanks
go.
a lot, Joe.
Thank you,
So what
sir.
is this thing, this X39? And I said, we like to, we're going to show you how easy it is to share. Got to get that page on top. And that's what we're going to do right now. So this website, when we are sharing LifeWave with people, look up here at the top. It's so easy to remember. Why the light? Whythelight.com. And after when you talk to somebody and you say, hey, go to this website and watch this 3-minute video. So we're going to talk about this. Look at this. 10 years of research into stem cell and over 200 global patents. Yeah, that's David Schmidt, the guy who invented the scientist who invented these. I love these sentences down here. We discovered a way to use light, not chemicals, to signal your body's own cellular production. It's like flipping your body's own repair switch safely, effortlessly, and from within. Why all the research? Well, research, you can say something does something, but when you can actually prove it, it's a lot more believable and people are more likely to use that. And this picture right here showing a younger woman on the left and an aged woman. What do we look at first when we meet somebody? Their face, their hair. It says a lot about a person. And quite frankly, there's more than skin and hair. There's energy and there's brightness and there's darkness. But speaking about the skin, that's a multi billion-dollar industry. Well, you're going to find out the benefits to skin with this technology. It helps with, fine lines, thinning hair, inflammation in your face. Who doesn't want more of that? All right, so look over to the right where the two circles are, the outer and the inner. And the inner part is a crystal structure. Now, somebody asked me the other day, could you say instead of crystal, say prism? Because some people get a weird, hokey, woo-woo feeling when you say crystal. We're There are a lot of crystals. Water is in a crystal form in our body, so don't get confused by that. Crystals, salt is a crystal, your table salt, quartz crystals. I had a quartz set when I was a kid, when I was a Boy Scout. We made a radio. We had to have a quartz crystal in order for it to work. But there's a crystal structure that does not exist in nature that was invented by the founder and scientist. Why did he do that? Well, this is how brilliant he is. He knows that we emit frequencies of light. You see that on night vision goggles. Every one of those colors is a different frequency of light. He figured out which one, if I got it back in the body, could turn on this pathway that we're talking about and activate the body to do something. The crystal structure is what does it. So it reflects back part of you? So the answer to that first thing I talked about, what powers the patch? It's you. You are the power source. The power source of this patch is a frequency that you emit and gets reflected back into you. No injections, no side effects. It's not transdermal or anything like that. Here's the 3-minute video I said that you would tell people to go and watch. So we're going to watch this and you'll get an even bigger idea of what this patch does.
Energy of life itself. Since the beginning of time, light has sustained us, fueled our growth, and shaped the world. Even Einstein recognized that everything we are is made of light. But what if we could harness the light within us, not just to live, but to renew, restore, and rejuvenate? As time goes on, we begin to show signs that things just aren't as they used to be. Energy fades, sleep declines, and healing takes longer. The reason? Our stem cells, the building blocks of renewal, become less effective over time. Since 2004, LifeWave has been delivering groundbreaking technology to help the body do what it was designed to do, only better. Introducing LifeWave X39, the first product in the world that activates stem cells using our body's own light. Backed by clinical research, multiple patents, and over 10 years of stem cell research, LifeWave's founder, David Schmidt, achieved something remarkable in the field of wellness and regenerative science that others, despite years of research and billions in funding, could not. The result? A revolutionary wearable light technology that unlocks the power of activating our own stem cells with a single, safe, affordable, non-transdermal patch that puts you back in control of how you look, feel, and perform. Here's how it works. Unlike traditional light therapy, which requires external light sources, X39 uses the body's own infrared light. When an X39 patch is applied to any point on the body, our infrared light is reflected back into the tissue, sending a signal to the brain, activating a powerful peptide, GHK, copper peptide, known to activate our stem cells. These younger, more effective stem cells then go to work, enhancing energy, relieving pain, improving sleep, accelerating recovery, and promoting healthier hair and skin. Unlike drugs or chemicals, X39 works naturally, awakening your body's ability to heal and thrive. Whether you want to boost energy for your busy life, recover faster, or simply feel your best, X39 supports your body's natural renewal process, helping you live long, live well, and live young. No matter your age or stage in life, your body is capable of more than you realize. It's time to unlock your full potential, restore your vitality, and embrace a healthier, more vibrant you. Be the light with LifeWave X39.
It always cracks me up when they end the counting up to the age and it ends on my age. So I'm going to disclose to you, she said, helps you, reminds your body of what it's supposed to be doing, only better. The only better part is this. When we're young and we have a lot of stem cells, a lot of them have to be devoted to growth, bigger bones, bigger organs, bigger everything. But when you're older, if you elevate your stem cells, all of them can be devoted to regeneration and repair. So what happens when you put the patch on you? It signals your body to make a very important peptide that we used to make a lot of when we were younger. But at about the age of 25, or 30, excuse me, 35, it's about 50% decreased. And at my age, I started using this 6 years ago when I was 66. First of all, most of my stem cells were old and some of them senescent. They'd gone into senescence, meaning they're way old. And so to be able to activate my body to make new ones was a big deal for me, and it's greatly impacted my life and my heart health. This isn't about a quick fix. If you had that in mind, that you'll You want to use this for a few days and see how you feel, or a month and see how you feel. You might feel something, but I got to tell you something. Our internal organs don't have any sensory nerves. So this is why we go to the doctor to get tests done for things that we can't feel. So I would recommend that you don't go into this doing a non-double blind, non-randomized, non-placebo controlled study of one yourself. No company does that, no drug company, nobody. So don't think it's going to be any different with you. Just know that in the background, what if this is something that could just be working in the background that you don't even notice, if it only prevented things that you could get when you were older, but because you have this, you're not going to. That would be great, don't you think? Now, some people are, I call one patch wonders. They notice something right when you put it on. But if I were you, I wouldn't go into it like that. So, GHK copper peptide, that's the peptide that gets elevated in the blood when you put the patch on. So, let's learn a little bit about that. In 1973, Dr. Lauren Picard discovered the effects of this. And they found that when they exposed GHK copper peptide to old liver cells, this is an experiment they did, the old liver cells reversed in age. It turned back the clock. And that's what we're talking about. The time clock of your lifespan just got 26 minutes. You got closer to when it ends. Unless you do something, you can do something about it. If not, we're all in the process of dying. You can either slow it down and extend that, but most importantly, expand your health span, meaning maintain your vitality and vigor as you age. So, what does this peptide do? Well, stem cells and other actions. It caused adult stem cells to start producing again. Remember, I said most of mine were senescent. And so making new ones was a big deal for me. It produces more stem cells and resets stem cells to a younger, healthier state. It turns back the clock, just like those liver cells. That's what started the whole thing about the research into this peptide, is because it reversed the age, not only of the liver cells, but now we find out it's stem cells. Skin and hair. The dermatologists were the first to embrace this technology. They started putting it in their creams and lotions and shampoos because of the benefit for hair. What are those? What are the benefits? Well, it tightened loose skin and thickened older skin. You know how older people just bump their arm and the skin tears? It's weak. The collagen is weak. Wasn't repaired. This helps tighten that loose skin and thicken older skin so it's not so saggy and wrinkly. Reduced fine lines and wrinkles, reduced skin spots, protects from UV radiation. Going to be important for us next week going to Hawaii. GHK increased hair growth and thickness. See where it says thickness right there? Here's what it does. It causes the growth of more hair follicles, and the follicles that you have get thicker. So the shaft of your hair is thicker. Accelerates wound healing. Anti-fast growing cells. We don't make claims. These are not claims made by LifeWave. This is what the research shows. The GHK helps reset the cellular death cycle of some cancer cells. It topped the list for 1,309 bioactive compounds against fast-growing colon cells. Resets genes that you can be born with that predispose you to get cancer. Lung protection. I'll tell you what it says here, and I'll tell you what it says in the research. Here it says it topped the list of 1,309 bioactive compounds for chronic pulmonary issues. What it says in the research, not a claim by LifeWave, is that it is good for curing COPD, which is a lung muscle disease. Restored healthy function in lungs, protected lungs from damage, anti-inflammatory. One more category here. I want to, two more actually. Brain and nerves. There was so much information in the literature when I wrote the book about this GHK copper peptide that I had to break it up into 3 chapters: regenerative, regenerating neurons, prevention of cognitive decline. That's one of the functions showed in the literature, the science, in the research with this GHK. Anti-stress and anti-anger. There was a study they did with rats, and they took angry rats, and I wondered how they made them angry. What did they do? I don't know. But they took these angry, aggressive rats, and within 12 minutes, it reduced them down to normal. They weren't angry and anxious. Aggressive. That was one of the words they used. Additional actions. I want to bring your attention to this down at the bottom. I'm going to magnify this. Very, very important. What's the number one killer in the US? Now, LifeWave doesn't make claims about treating cardiovascular disease, but here's what the literature says: helps reduce or maintain fibrinogen levels. Let's talk about that. Fibrinogen is the substance that makes our red blood cells sticky. We have to have some stickiness, or if we get a little tiny cut in our finger, we would bleed out. There's no way of stopping it. It just keeps coming. You can't heal unless you can clot. But if you have too much fibrinogen, guess what? Now we clot. Now we have a clot in an arterial, a capillary, or an artery, and now we have a stroke. It is the GHK copper peptide's job to moderate or modulate the level of fibrinogen. Without going into a lot of detail, let's just say it controls one of the genes that's involved in the production of that fibrinogen. Increased myostatin gene expression. So it increased the gene expression of this substance. What is myostatin? It inhibits cardiac failure. That's what it is. So, number one killer. You want to not have that anymore. Okay, so I want to show you a couple of quick videos. Now, remember this website, Why the Light. This is down about 3/4 of the way down, and I want you to pay close attention to the way this woman says the name of the person who is her angel. I can venture to say that this woman will look back on this person she members with great fondness, and probably even after she passes, people will talk about this woman who saved her.
Saving for my 20th stem cell treatment, and Barbara showed up, and she put 2 patches on me, and by the time we finished talking, I was able to lift my legs much easier. It was amazing. And so I canceled my appointment, and I've been wearing the patches every day since.
And Barbara showed up. I love that. This guy is in the beauty industry. How would you work if you had elbow pain?
My tendonitis on my elbow right here flare up. And 5 years ago, it was so bad that I would only work a few hours a day. I grabbed it, I placed it right there where the pain was, where the tendonitis was. And that pain went down to the 2, and I moved my arm like normal.
Maybe one more. Let's watch this gal.
Since producing 4 at 37 years old, and then be able to have a clear scan. So, I'll forever be using these.
Now, keep in mind, we don't treat, cure, or prevent diseases. It's not our intention to imply that. These are the experiences of the people whose videos you just watched. How do we wear it? Well, there are a couple of places that are recommended by the company, and one of them is right here in the back of the neck. And the reason they make those recommendations is because that's where they did the research. You can truly put them on anywhere in the body. I tell people, put it on where you have the biggest problem. And here's why I tell people that. I had a patient who had a huge bruise on their thigh, and the GHK copper peptide is known to rapidly take care of bruising. And she put the patch right in the middle of the huge bruise, and the next day there wasn't any bruising right underneath the patch. And then the rest of it started to go away as well. That's why I started doing that. And I did the same after an injury I had. So we put it on 12 hours on, 12 hours off. Why do we do that? Why do we only wear it for 12 hours? Here's the reason. The body stops responding to any light therapy after a period of time, whether it's red light, blue light, yellow light, laser, infrared, far infrared. The body absorbs it and then the bucket is full. You can't get it more full, but it won't hurt you. So we wear it 12 hours on and let the body kind of reset back to 12 hours off and discard the patch. You can go to this website and read all these. Why the Light? Remember, whythelight.com. But in the first few days, this is known in the literature, the science, that about a third of our genes start to reset. They get repaired. This is why I think people have these unbelievable stories that something happened very quickly to them. I think it's because the gene that controls that thing got repaired and it started working again, like turning on a light switch. That's my personal opinion, though. Within 4 weeks, cellular repair is activated. The brain starts to balance out. And there was a study done over 6 weeks wearing the patch showed that there were actual changes on the brain maps of these people, beneficial changes. Collagen gets repaired. What's made of collagen? Everything in our body. Our bone matrix, the protein matrix that ossifies, not calcifies, turns into bone, is made of protein. Don't ever let anybody tell you that calcium makes bones strong. Calcium carbonate is chalk. It's only one of the components of strong bones. Protein, collagen is what makes your bones strong. And so keep that in mind. By 12 months, man, things are looking good. I can tell you my personal story is I used to have a right bundle branch block, and we had two stress echocardiograms over a period of a year and a half. The second one, it was gone. Two doctors have said, we've never seen one of those go away. So I am eternally grateful. Those of you who like to read studies, I know you're out there. I see some of you smiling right now. This is where you'd go, patents and studies. You'd want to go there. I want to introduce you to the founder, David Schmidt. Watching this video, you will get a little sense of who David is and what type of person he is and what his goal is for humanity on this earth. Where'd it go?
God created the heavens and the earth. There is more information there than most people would ever realize. I was 8 years old, and my parents wanted to take me to the workshop of Thomas Edison. On the drive back home, I said to my dad, I want to be an inventor. Light, as it turns out, is the primary control mechanism for everything else that happens in the body. What if we could have an external electromagnetic field that would essentially reset the stem cells that are already in our bodies and get them to function like younger, healthier cells? What if in the process we actually found out that in a book that was written thousands of years ago, that information already existed? God has left his fingerprint in natural design, and that blueprint shows up in nature. The mathematical codes are identical. The implications to this are absolutely extraordinary. What drives me is that there's this enormous sense of hope that we can create technology to generate clean energy, that we can have foods that aren't genetically modified, and we can meet all of the needs on the planet that we have to, and that we can heal people.
You just got a glimpse into the future. Those last two things he talked about are things he already has patents on. So, how do we get these? I'm going to show you. Here we go. If you don't get this on your skin, I want you to think about that the time clock of your lifespan. You gotta make some changes and help your body take care of business all day long in the background, every day, every day, every day. Not a medicine, not a pill. This is how you get them. You can order a one-time purchase of the X49, a 30-day supply is called a sleeve, is $149.95. I mentioned that I don't recommend doing that. You want to elevate once you start. Let's say you were remodeling your home and your kitchen's torn out, and you said, I'm tired of this. I'm not going to do this anymore. And now your kitchen's torn out. When you're repairing and replacing things in your body, it's very similar, and you want to give your own stem cells a chance. So you can get one of these wholesale packs. These are actually just a little bit less than wholesale, but here would be enough for one person for 3 months. Um, Excuse me, if you only got when I say only, if you got the X39 and no other patches. Now, we don't talk about some of the other things that we have. It's a little overwhelming to try to understand just how this technology works. But you can see another patch is mentioned right here. It's called the Eon patch. Why did we do that? If you have a normal or if you have mild to moderate inflammation, everybody has some. The X39 will eventually take care of that. If you have an extreme amount, like you have a lot of an inflammatory disease, an autoimmune thing where there's a lot of inflammation, or you had, a surgery a few weeks ago or something, you will want to add the Eon patch. Here's why. Stem cells are attracted to inflammation like a moth to a light. Why? Because that's the area where you need the most help, and it's sending out these chemical signals. Help me, help me. And it attracts the stem cells to where they're needed to repair things. So if you ordered the Eon with this, you could get a 2 month supply of the X39 and a 2 month supply of the Eon in this package. This would be more like for two people. This would be for a family. The Advanced Plus would be for a family. Over to the far right, the premium pack would be for practitioners. They're going to be selling them in their practice. Their patients need them. They're filling a need there. Or if you are really, really serious about this business and you want to, build fast and have some product on hand so that, people want to get their product right away. It only takes about 4 days to get it there, but consider that when you're considering which packet you get. So you can either become a preferred customer. I forgot to say that. If you just want to be a customer, you have no interest in doing the business, it's totally, you can still get the product at wholesale. And what you do is you order one sleeve. And if you become a preferred customer plus over here for an annual fee of $25, you get a free sample pack of 10 patches of some of the other patches every month. And then you get to choose a full month supply at the end of that year. So just choose how you want to get them, a preferred customer, or if you have interest and you're the type of person who likes to talk about stuff like a good restaurant you went to, you would do well at starting your own little business. And so when you look at this, when I talked about your biological clock, what I meant was the time clock of your lifespan. This can be a seminal moment for you in your journey, in your maintenance of your vigor and vitality as you age. And I truly feel that that's what's happened to me and my wife. I got my biological age test a few months ago, and I'm going to be 72 in a couple of months. And my biological age said 58. And I said, these things really do work. Get back with the person who invited you to come to this tonight and get serious with this. This is potentially life-changing, not just for you, but people in your circle who need you to reach out to them. You may be the only person who hears about this where there's time to help their body take care of business on its own, like I talked about at first. We don't cure or treat, but wouldn't it be nice to just have your body in the background repairing and regenerating on a daily basis. I do these every Wednesday night, 5 o'clock Pacific. Figure out your time from there. I'm in Mountain, -6. And we'll see everybody next week. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Joe, I want to thank you again. I always love talking to you. You are a bright light. We'll talk to you on your Zoom, and I'll see everybody next week. Thanks a lot.